Let's start with
Khamzat Gilbert Burns. As like we said before, I think that we kind of hit the nail on the head on the last podcast. And I know that people will say we don't know what the fuck we're talking about, and we have a bad habit of reviewing fights that we never watched.
Yeah.
But we were right when we said, look.
And to that, I'll say, listen, Anthony Smith and Michael Bisping, you don't know what you're talking about.
But look, I mean, we said going into the fight that it was like, look, I understand. Like, if you're just talking about, obviously the odds are made by, people gave me shit on the last episode because I said it was disrespectful to Gilbert Burns. Yeah. And they're like, yo, the odds are made by how people vet and by how they bet, and Vegas is just like doing math equations. Like, no, I know. I'm just saying that this does not reflect reality, and that even though it made sense in my mind, even for Khamzat to maybe be a slight favorite, it did not reflect reality for him to be this wild favorite. This was on paper, a very competitive fight. And what became interesting about the way the fight played out is that, look, obviously I think Khamzat was the one who's deciding whether they were going to be standing up or be on the ground.
Yeah.
You know, like he could take this guy down, and if he wanted to.
And we saw Gil try to take him down.
Gilbert could not take him down.
Gil was not going to take him down.
So I think to me what happened in the fight was a mix of two things. Number one, the fact that Gilbert Burns is one of the best submission artists in the history of MMA. The guy, I believe, finished in like the top 2 or 3 in Abu Dhabi multiple times. He's like an unbelievable. He's not a black belt. He's like an unbelievable
gold
black
medalist,
belt.
multiple divisions.
Like a guy who makes other black belts look like white belts. Like an incredible jiu-jitsu guy. And so that's one of it. And the other thing is that Khamzat dropped him with a jab in the first round. And if you've got a guy who's one of the best submission guys in the world, and you drop him with a jab,
by the way, did not look good when he did that. I'm like, fuck, dude, god damn it. And he got dropped by a jab by Usman in their fight as well.
That's right.
So it's like, hey, listen to me, fucking. But if the chink in Gilbert Burns' armor is simply a jab.
Now the weird thing, he can take your overhand bombs.
Yeah, dude, he can take a head kick. He can be slammed to the ground. But if you just simply flick a jab at him, he will crumble.
Yeah, it's like a character in Tyson's Knockout or Tyson's Punch Out or something like that.
They open their arms and they hit him in the X.
That's the X. Oh no, not a little jab to the belly. But so I think the mix of those two things, a guy's real dangerous with submissions. You drop him with a jab, you're like, well, you know what? Yeah. I'm not going down and playing this game with him. I'm going to stand up. So this made it a different fight, I think, than a lot of us thought it might be.
I wasn't.
And then it became.
It was a 50-50 shot, in my opinion, if it was going to be this fight, right? So I figured.
I thought there would be more. I didn't think they wouldn't strike at all.
I watched like Khamzat highlights leading into the fight, right?
Yeah.
And I watched Gilbert Burns highlights. Like I watch highlight reels of all of their finishes, right? And I thought it was pretty telling, right? Khamzat every time dives for that leg, fucking and hard, takes you down hard, dude.
He's got an
great positional control.
He's got an excellent, he's different. Khabib used to do this thing where his thing was he would just kind of almost like corner you until he had you against the cage, and then hold you against the cage, and then string together takedowns until he took you down. Get your back up against the cage and take you down. Khamzat does this thing where he throws a big bomb, a big strike into a takedown, and it is so quick. It is his transitioning between striking and a double leg is like incredible. That's his fucking thing.
Yeah.
So that, Oh, I'm sorry. Keep going.
No. So and then I watched Gilbert Burns, and Gilbert Burns, in a lot of his finishes, especially early on in his UFC career, it was in scrambles off his back, belly down arm bars, triangles, like really unique, fun submissions in positions that were like sort of dangerous and sort of like, and after a while I was like, Khamzat's going to go die for that leg. He's going to get down there. And I think Gilbert Burns is going to be able to sweep, get on top, or submit him. And I know Khamzat is like high-level wrestler, Swedish alternate. But that's the other thing as well. You're like, I don't know how much Swedish wrestling really fucking matters in the world. I don't know. And maybe people are going to flame me. They're like, dude, you're a fucking idiot. Swedish is the #1 fucking wrestling team in the world.
I just know that, honestly, Khabib...
It's not a fucking corn-fed fucking Midwesterner, dude.
Yeah, I don't know. I think... dude, he's training with those fucking
The Russians.
those guys.
No, I know the
And
Russians.
it's not the Russians. It's the fucking more specifically.
But when I find out that he's a Swedish bronze medalist, it's just
but but they just sent him there. Like he just went to Sweden from fucking what's it called?
He was born somewhere else. I read his bio.
But he was wrestling in Russia.
He was born in Chechnya.
He was born in Chechnya, but I mean, he's training with the guys from what's it called, Dagestan?
Yeah, the
Dagestani
connection.
guys. So they sent him over to Sweden to be like, I'm here to break you, and then fucking he went back home and wrestled.
When you talk about the credentials themselves, I wasn't like now.
He has better credentials than Khabib had.
Yes,
but it doesn't matter. The point is, it's how good you are actually in MMA wrestling.
Here's what I'll say. I ended up picking Burns publicly, right? And I'm not saying that he wasn't robbed. And I didn't really think he won the fight. I did think that Khamzat won the fight. But I will say, moral victory.
Well, it was.
For me personally, I felt like everyone going, "You're an idiot," because I posted, I was like, dude, these are my picks.
When you bet against a negative 700 favorite and it's down to a point where it's a debatable decision,
dude,
it kind of feels like, that you kind of were onto something.
Yeah, look, and it ended up being, the grappling canceled each other out. It wasn't like Khamzat had the ability to just take him down at will. These guys ended up striking. For the most part, and Gil was in that fight the whole time. It was an incredible performance. You didn't realize until I sort of saw them standing across from each other how much bigger Khamzat was than Gilbert Burns. Gilbert Burns, you forget that he fought at 155 pounds. Khamzat spending a lot of his career at 185 pounds. Big weight, and that was probably, in my opinion, the difference in the fight. What made the difference was the size.
Well, I think so, and I got to tell you, look, I do believe what I said before, that I think everyone's stock goes up after this fight, and I think that it's like, people who don't really know MMA that well will look at this and be like, Khamzat was dominating everybody, but he had a real tough time with this guy, and it's like, dude, he in his fourth UFC fight just beat Gilbert Burns. Yeah. It's fucking incredible, dude. He's the real deal. And Gilbert Burns dealt with a guy who is that good and gave him an unbelievable fight. I am really excited to see Usman versus Khamzat.
After watching that, I think fucking Khamzat needs another fight.
I'll tell you,
Gilbert,
I disagree.
Doggy, I'm telling you right now, Usman.
It's all rematches.
Usman's a better striker, in my opinion, and the wrestling. It's going to be a very similar fight to Gilbert Burns.
It's styles.
But
it's not
the wrestling is going to cancel that. These guys are going to strike each other.
I don't know about that.
I think, dude, let me tell you something. If Gilbert Burns was able to land the way he was landing on him, I think Usman's going to fucking put him away, dude.
I'm telling you, I'm not saying he's the favorite.
No, stop
going
arguing
in.
with me.
Stop yelling. I think Usman should be the favorite going into that fight if you're picking accurate odds. But I think it's a really compelling matchup, and I'm not sure if he's able to take Usman down a few times. He's probably not going to be able to take him down and hold him down the whole time. But it's just a really interesting matchup where you're like, finally, the problem kind of in this division has been that Usman is on his second round of clearing people out. And he's already won his rematches a few times. And now you're talking about another rematch with Leon Edwards. And, another, it's like, okay. And then maybe, I guess, another rematch with Gilbert Burns was the other thing out there before this fight. But now you got a new guy with all this hype behind him.
Khamzat, here's what's great about Khamzat. Like the hype, it's what's great about guys with hype, right? They make things big, right? Khamzat, for some reason, and this was and I know there's been hype
Usman
around him for a while, but this was a big coming out party for Khamzat in terms of like how much hype. We were talking about the MMA media surrounding it, the way they talk about it. Who's the fucking blonde bitch who works for the UFC?
You think I know her name?
You know her name, dude.
No,
Come on,
I
you
don't.
respect women. Come on, dude, say it. Come on, put it in the Racist Live Jet.
I totally respect women. I know her name. I think it's Mother.
What's her name? I don't know. Fucking Ladybug.
Wife of someone.
Ladybug
mother
Titty
of someone?
Pants. Whatever her name is. Fucking
Ladybug Titty Pants.
Whatever her name is. You know that blonde chick. But no, she's like an on-air chick. Like they were like interviewing her. I was like, "How do you feel about it?" And she was like, the energy and the fact, like the it factor. And she was like so into it, dude. And I started buying. I was like, dude, yeah, dude, he really has it. Everyone is really on this hype train. It's probably the only thing comparable I've seen is Connor. Connor started coming up, and I always stupidly I bet against the hype train. It's not even that I'm betting against the hype train. I root against the hype train.
Right.
I don't want the guy that has all that hype to win. I wanted BJ. Was it BJ Penn? Who was fighting Connor? What am I thinking of
BJ Penn.
It wasn't
didn't
BJ
fight
Penn. No. It was
Mendez.
No, when he came up, dude, I was actually I was thinking of BJ Penn because I remember when BJ Penn came back, I was rooting against BJ because of all the hype that was surrounding BJ. When Conor McGregor was coming up, I remember just rooting against him over and over and over.
I remember
again.
this.
Aldo, I'm fucking retarded.
Oh, Aldo, yeah.
yeah.
No, I remember that. You were telling me.
And I was picking against him.
I told you he was going to fuck Aldo.
But it wasn't so much that I'm even picking. There's no part of it. Like, I'm not an MMA analyst. I'm a fat fan. I'm a fat fucking fan. Okay, and as a fan, Laura Sanko, thank you, Race Left Chat. I'm a fat fan, and as a fat fan, I want to sit there on my couch and I want to see the UFC's A plan fall to shit.
Just being all
it's
fat
exciting
with a fan on him, with a big fan.
Vic, what were you saying?
I was just telling you it was Laura Sanko. That was it.
Thank you, appreciate it. So look, Khamzat, he won. Actually, one fight of the night.
It was an incredible fight, and yeah, Khamzat wins, and the hype train does continue.
Do you think they're going to give him a title shot right after this, or do you think they're going to do one more fight?
I think he's going to get a title shot after this.
Maybe timing-wise.
I think the hype.
Why wouldn't they give him a massive fight like a Colby or?
I'd say the UFC. If I'm them, you go instead of giving him a Colby who's coming off of
Colby's gonna have a tough time with Khamzat.
1-1 in his last two fights. You got the guy, like you said, with all the hype since Conor. He just justified a title shot. Whether you think it's right or not to go next, it's justified now.
Oh, 100%.
So
it's right.
Why
it is the move. He is
right. So why not give the fight that's gonna? They know you strap a belt to a fight that always increases the ratings. You put the big hype train up there. This is going to be a huge money making fight for them. Why would they not just do this?
But I would say right now, there's also massive fights in Colby. And Khamzat, here's the thing, right? So you, from a pure marketing and business standpoint, you have massive opportunity with Khamzat versus Colby, Khamzat versus Masvidal, Khamzat versus, I mean, literally name anybody at 170 that's a star.
But Khamzat versus Masvidal, I don't think really anybody wants to say. It's like
if they put Masvidal in next,
I'm not saying it wouldn't make a lot of money.
It wouldn't.
I'm
it
just
wouldn't
saying,
even be that crazy.
Well, yeah, kind of would, because you're talking about a guy coming off a loss,
win and a loss,
versus a guy who's coming off this huge fucking streak with all this momentum behind him. I just don't think that makes sense. I think the truth is that this is the right thing to do for the UFC. It's the thing Khamzat wants, I'm sure, and I think it's the right thing to do for Usman. Like, this is kind of like what Usman needs in a way, to fucking have this huge hype train and be able to fucking stop that guy, and then like it's like it to the casual fan's mind, leave no doubt about like exactly who he is.